Hi guys, Samantha from My Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a fun alcohol ink crackle ring. So I've got some black Primo polymer clay here that was rolled out on my thinnest setting, or second thinnest setting actually. I can't use the thinnest setting without rippling. So it is about a millimetre thick. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut a strip that is slightly wider than what I want my ring to be. Then I have got a metal tube which is the size of the ring that I want. Bear in mind that the size of the ring is going to be the entire cylinder, it's not going to be the inside because the polymer clay piece will be bigger, so just keep that in mind. Okay, and I'm going to grab this. I'm just going to wrap that around and it will have made a mark. And what I do then is I trim this bit off and I cut that. And it's a little big still, so I'll cut off a little more. Okay, there we go. Then gently smooth that down because that is going to be, you want to get rid of that seam line. I apologise if you can hear the cat rubbing against various things in the background. She wants my attention and I'm not giving it to her at this moment, so if you can hear that, it's because the cat's trying to get my attention. So sorry about that. I'm just going to trim off these edges, and we will give this a sand later on so it doesn't need to look symmetrical or straight or anything like that. Don't worry about it. Bring that to the side and bring it over the metal leaf. Okay, and I'm going to be using silver leaf today just because it shows up the colours of the alcohol inks best in my opinion. But any colour of leaf will work, and if you don't want to be using alcohol inks you can use any colour leaf you want and just go with the metal leaf colour. Then I'm just going to cut that because we don't need all the leaf. I'm going to pop that to the side because that's the piece we'll use, and this one I will put back in for later projects. Okay, then grab your metal leaf, just apply it to your black clay, and again you can use any colour of clay you want. I just think that the black shows up the cracks nicer. So that's a personal preference thing. Okay. Then rub around the edges, like so, and then blow. And that will get rid of a lot of the excess. Then I'm going to press along the edges quite firmly because I want the clay to crackle, like so. Okay. Now just keep in mind that you can use a wooden mandrel to make your ring. You could even take a piece of paper and wrap it around something, and a cylindrical object that is oven safe, and you could make your ring on that as well. The metal one, it does stick a little bit, but all I usually do is I'll take something like, let's see, something like maybe a piercing pin. This will work. You take 2 of those on either side and you press down, and once you've kind of got the bond between the clay and the metal broken, which it doesn't take a lot, you should be able to slide it quite easily off of the tool, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to bake that for a full hour at Primrose recommended temperature, and then we can get onto the sanding. Okay, and actually before we put it in the oven, I want to apply the alcohol inks. Okay, and this we are actually going to be chopping in half and creating 2 rings, just because the width is too large otherwise. So if you don't want to make 2 rings, then cut it now and remove the excess. Okay, so I'm going to be using some yellow, orange and red alcohol inks. Start with the lighter colour. And I'm going to paint that over the surface, like so. And you can use any pattern that you want, it doesn't have to be what I'm doing right now. And I'm being very generous with the yellow because that's one of the colours that we can very easily paint over the top or cover with the darker colours. Darker colours I'm going to be a little more sparing with. And I'm not going to worry about changing the colour on the brush because we're working with a light colour. And then you can see I'm being a little more deliberate with how I'm applying this colour. Pretty happy with that. Going to bring over the darker red. And bear in mind you can use any colour alcohol inks you want. It doesn't have to be this colour, or these colours anyway. Add a little bit there. Okay. Okay, and there we go, you can see the pattern. Now I am going to grab a blade, and this is not too sharp because I know my finger's over there, but my finger shouldn't be in that much trouble just because I'm going to be slicing here. And I'm carefully going to rotate. And I'll rotate the entire way around. There we go. And we will be sanding it, so we'll be cleaning up the edges, so don't worry too much if you don't get it perfect. Okay, then I'm going to pop that into the oven for a full hour at Primrose recommended temperature. Okay, and here it is. So I already worked it off of the piece while it was warm. It's much easier to do that. But I've put it back onto the metal because I want to coat it in liquid clay. Once we've coated it in liquid clay, then we can give it a sand. But if we sand it right now, the metal leaf is just going to really chip off and we're going to lose a lot of it. So I don't want to do that. Okay, so now we need something to hold this and turn it while we are coating the liquid clay. So I've just got a piece of clay here that I'm not going to be using. So it's basically any scrap clay will work. And I'm just going to pop that onto here. Just flatten out. Tic Tac will work as well. I'm just flattening this out so that I can put in here. And I'm actually going to do these one at a time, so let me take that one off. And I will stick that in place. Press down on it, and that should hold it together, like so. Okay. Then I'm going to bring over some Kato clear liquid clay. Just apply a bit of that onto the tile. Okay, and then you can use a brush or you can use your finger. Either will work. And just brush the liquid clay onto the surface. I don't want a heavily thick coat. I just want a decent cover. And you can see that some of the metal leaf will come off. That's normal and that's alright. The more gentle you are, the less likely it is to come off. And this is why I'm not sanding it yet. Okay, let's see, is that completely covered? Just making sure that I'm happy with the coat. Okay, that looks good. Then I'm going to bring over my heat gun. It's on the hottest setting, and I'm going to be rotating this as I heat it. Okay, then it takes about 2 minutes to clear that up completely, and you can see there how it looks. So now I'm going to allow that to cool, and then I will remove it from the metal. Okay, then the last and final step, once those have cooled, is to bring over some 400 grit sandpaper, wet, and we are going to take those rings, and you're just going to give them a quick sand along each of the sides, just to clean them up. Okay. And when you're sanding it, just rotate it every once in a while so that it sands down evenly. And it's much safer to sand it now because we've had the liquid clay on it, and so we shouldn't have any metal leaf apart from the leaf along the sides, which we want to get rid of, flake off. And you can see how much cleaner that's starting to come out. It's going to take a little bit of time to get completely clean, and you want to sand both sides on both rings until it's nice and clean. And here we go. Now that we have sanded both the edges, you can see it looks much better now, nice and even along the sides. And yeah, that's basically it. If you wanted to give the sides a bevel, you could go in with the sandpaper and sand along the inside as well if you want. I might do that, I'm not completely sure if I want to, but yeah, you can see it fits quite nicely. My pinky finger is absolutely tiny, so I've made it a little larger, so it actually fits normal fingers. But yeah, you would size it to your own finger depending on how big or small it is. It really depends on your personal preference, if you wanted it on one of your main fingers or if you wanted it on the smaller one. Completely up to you, but yeah, that's basically it for today's tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below, and if you would like to support this channel so I can continue making videos like this one, please do consider either having a look at Patreon, where I provide tutorials every single month that are exclusive to Patreon, and some of them are available on Etsy, or you can even become a member to support the channel. And that also is really helpful, and I appreciate that greatly. And yeah, so if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.